guys, welcome back. My name is Stephanie. I'm so glad that you are here today, and I'm so glad that I am here today in one piece. I had a little bit of an exciting weekend. Today is Tuesday. I don't even know what day of the month it is, but it's Tuesday, February something, probably the 26th. Yeah, probably the 26th of February. And last week I had my videos all ready to go, and then on Thursday I had my 38-week appointment because I'm 38 weeks pregnant, and he stripped my membranes and was able to stretch my cervix a little bit. I was dilated to a 2, and he said sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. I had my membranes stripped with my other 2 pregnancies, and with those 2 pregnancies there were other factors. One of them was we lived really far away from the hospital, and there was a blizzard the day that I started having contractions from early labor after my membranes were stripped. So they ended up keeping me overnight and giving me a little bit of Pitocin just to keep the labor going. And with my son, I had unknowingly lost all the amniotic fluid, and when I went in for an ultrasound, they're like, go to labor and delivery, and I wasn't dilating like hardly at all. It was my first baby, and so they did like a 12-hour amnio infusion with like a giant balloon inside on my cervix that hurt so bad. So I never ended up getting Pitocin for that, but I have had 2 interventions and 2 babies. So this is, even though it's my 3rd baby, it's totally new territory for me, but I know what contractions feel like, and so I kind of feel like I'm in some new territory with this pregnancy. So anyway, the point is he stripped my membranes on Thursday, and I thought I might go into labor. You know, this is my 3rd baby. And so that, it was Friday. No, it was Thursday. Yeah, and then Thursday night I started having contractions about 11 o'clock, and they were coming pretty regularly, a few an hour, and they continued through the night, but they weren't keeping me up. I was able to sleep, and then about 4 o'clock in the morning they were waking me up, and I started timing them, and they got progressively more painful, and they were coming every 1 to 3 minutes apart, and that lasted for a couple hours. So at about 7:30 in the morning, my husband had already gone to work at the hospital 2 blocks from our house, and I called the babysitter over and went to the hospital, and my husband met me there, and they hooked me up to the monitors, and they said, well, you've dilated to a 3. This is probably a good sign. And then after an hour, my contractions got further apart. They went from like 1 to 3 minutes apart to about 10 minutes apart, still lasting for a minute. And they got really painful, and then they just totally fizzled out. So they sent me home because I wasn't progressing. I hadn't dilated anymore. And then I continued to have contractions throughout the day, the next day, and then by Sunday, they just kind of fizzled out. So I've been walking, I've been resting, I've been just kind of enjoying the rest, but I am kind of confused as well. So I totally thought that I was going to have my baby last Friday. He or she did not come. So that's kind of where I've been. Luckily, my mom is in town, so the baby can come whenever, and I do have an induction scheduled for Thursday. So in 2 more days, no matter what happens, I will be in the hospital, hopefully having a healthy baby boy or girl. So that's where I've been. I just wanted to give you guys the update and tell you that false labor sucks. I don't really know what's going on with my body. But I'm very grateful that I can walk, and I just thought, I'm just going to get ready today. I bought this foundation. They used to make, I don't know if you can see it, it's the Rimmel Long Lasting Finish 25 Hour. It used to be in a bottle like this with a red cap, and I loved it, but it was a little tiny bit drying for me. I don't know, they must have like redone the formula, but I have not worn anything except this foundation for the last little while. So my skin is looking terrible, and I have been wearing, it's just like red and blotchy, and I feel like I go from being like super hot and sweaty to like normal. Yeah, so now that I'm almost done with this pregnancy, I'm like, okay, what is my food plan? Am I going to keep doing intuitive eating? Am I going to start tracking? And, you know, what are the goals? And the only thing I can say is that I don't really know for sure what exactly I will do, but I will say that I feel like this pregnancy has been such a blessing in terms of like the binge eating and just the things that you know I have struggled with if you've been on my channel for very long. Like the overeating, the binging, the emotional eating. I just couldn't do that during my first trimester, and then in my second trimester it was really the same. I mean, I have had like a really sensitive stomach. I've had quite a few cases of like food poisoning, and it's just been, oh, I wish I had a sponge. This is looking a little scary. I need a sponge. Anyway, I just do not like the feeling of being stuffed. I do not like the feeling of eating junk anymore. Yeah, I've had some cravings, like major cravings since having diabetes. You know, I just feel like there's so many things that it's just better for me to avoid instead of try to work some things in. But as my diabetes has gotten a little bit worse during the pregnancy, I've had to like avoid more food. You know, that can make me feel like I'm missing out a little bit, but I don't know. When I thought that I was in labor, my husband and I ended up going out to dinner on a date that night. I'm like, okay, we got to distract myself, and we went out and had Mexican food, and I did not count my carbs, and he was like, just take a mental health day, you know, you're almost done with this pregnancy, it's gonna be okay if you're not like perfect for a day. And I do have medication that I can take to help keep my blood sugar like in the safe zone. And so I had taken some of that knowing that we were going to be going out to dinner just to be safe, because that's what's best for me and the baby. But I didn't count my carbs, and I left food on my plate, and that might not seem like a big deal for people who don't have like food addiction problems, but that's like a really big change for me, especially if I'm feeling emotional and like, oh, I didn't go into labor, when is this baby coming, I'm on a date, I've been, you know, so deprived of food, and I don't know, it's like I think I finally just learned how to listen and honor my body, my hunger, my fullness. And my friend brought me, she's like an incredible cook and baker, and she's like, do you want me to bring you cookies? Do you want me to bring you this? And one year for my birthday, she had made me a cake, and I was like, oh, that was like the best cake I think I've ever had in my life. I would love a cake. And so she made me one in the shape of like a little onesie, and I had some, and I didn't finish my piece. I just left it there because I just didn't. I knew if I kept eating I was going to feel sick, and I didn't want to feel sick. I know, it seems like so simple, but when you're a food addict and you've been disconnected from your hunger and your fullness and how food makes you feel because you're eating for totally emotional reasons, that's huge. Especially because I'm not currently trying to lose weight. It wasn't, oh, I can't eat this because then I'll get fat. Oh, I can't eat this because then I'm going to have high blood sugar. I mean, I was like, well, I've had enough. And I can remember so many times being with people who were like, ooh, I have, that's really sweet, or oh, that's really rich, I think I'm done. And I'm like, I don't know what that's like. My whole life, I haven't known what that's like. I have always had like this crazy high tolerance for sugar and sweets. I mean, even as a kid, I remember just always feeling like I could eat and eat and eat. Huge appetite. Never really felt sick from Halloween candy. Never really felt like I had to stop eating things. Yeah, so having this like newfound ability to like leave half a piece of cake in a bowl, I think it's incredible. Like it just, I don't know, I just feel like there's so much hope for me moving forward. I'm really excited about the fact that my body doesn't feel wrecked. Like just yesterday I went and walked fast for 45 minutes at the YMCA, and I could have gone longer, but I had my mom with me and she was ready, and my daughter was in the stroller, and she'd been pushing my daughter in the stroller so that I could like keep up a really good pace, and they were both, they'd kind of had enough, and so we ended up getting in the pool and swimming. But like I had to use a walker at this point with my second pregnancy, and I was unable to walk hardly at all with my first pregnancy. So I feel like physically I'm coming out of this pregnancy like a totally different person than my other pregnancies. I've gained about 20 pounds. It kind of depends on the day, 17 to 22 pounds, depending on how like puffy my hands are. I'm so proud of that fact because number one, I am a food addict. Number two, I struggle big time with my weight. I struggle with emotional eating, or at least I have in the past, and I have just tried very hard to be responsible, but also that's just kind of what my body has done kind of on its own as well. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to have the baby. I'm not even going to try to put this eyeliner, like, what, am I even going to try to put this eyeliner on? No, I'm going to do this when I'm done talking. I'm getting ready. I have to take my kids to gymnastics in like 45 minutes, and then we're going to go to the movie because my husband got some movie passes, and it's Tuesday, $5 day, half price popcorn, half price concessions. Woo woo! Which, you know, for us budget people, we're all about, you know, doing fun things on a budget. So anyway, I totally forgot what I was saying, but what am I going to do? I'm just going to do what I have been doing. I feel like I can feel how much to eat to lose weight. Even being pregnant, I can feel when to stop eating, to go to bed. Like maybe if I had like, I don't know, a heavier meal or something one night, I can feel how much to eat and how much not to eat to not gain weight. I don't know. The other thing is I am really missing hiking and mountain biking. There's a lot of things that I haven't been able to do for the last, I mean, honestly, like 5 years, 5-6 years. About a year before I had my son was the last time, and he's almost 5. So 6 years ago, my husband and I did a massive backpacking trip in the Tetons, which are like my mountains. We did this backpacking trip. It was 40 miles, almost 40 miles, and it was really intense, and it was amazing, and it was a dream come true. I had already done it 2 other times, and so it was like so special to be able to have that time with him. And after all the problems that I've had with my pelvis and my hips and ligaments, which have been really significant. I mean, I feel like I've been in chronic pain since I got pregnant with my son. I feel like my body has never quite been the same, but I feel like during this pregnancy, I have gotten closer back to my old self physically. And I never let being overweight hold me back. Like, I weighed 234 pounds when we went backpacking. and I'm talking like 50-pound pack, up and down, thousands of vertical feet. If I can figure out how to put pictures in, I will. But I remember getting on top of one, like the highest section, where you're like literally half a mile in front of the Tetons, and these guys had been running the trail. And I mean, it was work. I mean, I've backpacked heavy and I've backpacked not heavy. It's a lot of work backpacking heavy. It was a lot of work. It was the hardest backpacking trip I'd ever done because it was the heaviest I'd ever been. And I got to the top, and these guys were like freaking out, congratulating me. And I didn't quite know how to take it because I've always continued to do the things that I love, even when I'm big. And so I don't really, it's not like I think I'm like that much of a bad-a, you know, but these guys, they're like grown adult men. They were like patting me on the back and like high-fiving. And I was like, well, thank you. And they're like, we are just like so impressed that you're out here and that you're backpacking. Like, people like you don't do this. And they meant it totally nice. And I took it the way that they meant it. So I wasn't like offended. And I was like, come to think of it, there really are very many overweight people up here on top of the mountains today. But I don't know. I've just never really let that hold me back. It sucks. I mean, I sweat more and it takes me like an hour to go a mile. And at my prime, I could easily cruise, you know, 3 miles an hour hiking with a 50-pound pack. When I weighed 150 pounds, which, yeah, at one point I did. And I just remember these guys were just, they could not stop like cheering for me and being so happy. And they're like, we just want you to know how amazing we think you are, because we know how much, like, how hard this is and how much work it takes. And I was like, well, thank you. Like, they were just so nice about it. And they weren't trying to say like, well, you should try to lose weight. It was like, you're amazing that you're not letting your weight hold you back and that you're still in good enough shape to be out here doing this. So where am I going with this? Well, backpacking and hiking was a huge part of my life before I got married and had kids. And then due to, you know, I can't live like the single life anymore, and we haven't really been close to the mountains. I've had kids and I've had like major physical setbacks. I don't get to do that anymore, but I miss it. Like, I miss it like the way that you miss somebody who's died. And that is the honest truth. So I think about it, I dream about it, I look at my old pictures. I mean, it was such a big part of my life to be so active and to hike, and I can't wait to do that again. So I'm hoping that this summer, I've already talked to my husband, I'm like, once a week, we're like driving on your days off, and we're going to do what we can. Obviously, I'll have a young baby, so it might be like an hour hike. It might be a walk on a low grade trail. But I just really feel like after I have this baby, things are going to be really awesome. I'm going to be able to hike. I'm going to be able to mountain bike. So I really don't have that much weight to lose to get back to where I was. And I had lost 17 pounds on Weight Watchers. So I feel like, okay, 35 pounds to get below 200. That's going to be my first goal, is to get below 200 pounds. And I feel like with the intuitive eating, I think that alone, and my ability to be physically active and having like a really good mindset, is going to be like the best thing ever for me and my weight. So that's all the details. This was a really long chatty video. Thank you so much if you have listened and watched this far. So as always, if you have a channel, please let me know so I can go and subscribe to you. And if there's anybody who wants to do any sort of collab, let me know. I'm all about it. So I will wrap it up, and I will see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. And maybe I'll have a baby. Hopefully by the next time I sit down and record a video, I will have a baby in my arms. So wish me luck. Bye.